As you look at this last month of December, 1 month ago basically was the Bakersfield game, rock bottom, 7 wins in a row. Why are you here now?
Well, first of all, we declared it rock bottom and then made some changes and things that have helped us immensely. And, our chemistry, even those games, like I think I talked about it briefly, is, even some of those good games in November, you just felt like it wasn't coming naturally. And I think now the chemistry just looks to be improving game by game. Our guys are excited to play together, and they're knowing their roles, and that's a big part of it. Also, guys know where their shots are coming from, and they have an unselfishness about them that's really bodes well for our team. And our defense just continues to grow and get better, and it's won us a lot of games so far.
4th in the nation, I saw, in 3-pointers attempts given up. You guys talk about just that philosophy of you guys, like you're just not going to let teams beat you with the 3.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done, because it's that's a lot of offenses are geared that way, and a lot of offenses work pretty hard to get them, and they get them up, and some nights, some guys, I've seen magical nights of guys where no matter how you guard them, they make them. And so for us to be able to do it as consistently as we've done, and to say something about these guys' attention to detail and effort, and the way the coaches have prepared these guys, and we worked on it really hard, and that was our emphasis this fall, and to see it coming to fruition like the way it is has been pretty rewarding, and certainly rewarding in the wins and loss column.
Sometimes I feel like one thing that's overlooked with your team is how well you guys can rebound at times. And during this winning streak, you guys are killing the glass. And Fresno State's a decent rebounding team, especially on the offensive end. And I think in the last, 25 minutes, they had 3 offensive rebounds. What do you attribute to that?
Well, again, that's no doubt. And you have to have unselfish guys. I always tell these guys, one of the most unselfish acts is to do your job on the defensive glass. Maybe you don't get the ball, but you do your job by blocking out. We pay a lot of attention to that, and we work on it. We talk about it. We show film on it. We coach the heck out of it, and it's become our priority. And I think we're top 20 in the nation in rebounding. We're we've become a really good offensive rebounding team this year. We've always been pretty darn good defensively, but this year we've made a huge jump on our offensive rebound efficiency, and it's paying off. And that was not a good rebounding team. That was a great rebounding team we played. And for us to go plus 13, I think it was, and that makes a huge difference in the game.
What does that do for you guys in terms of your confidence too? Because that's kind of a roll up your sleeves, who wants it more type category. And if you get offensive rebounds, it's not a turnover, but you could almost view it that way.
Those extra possessions make up for a lot of things, and they can be backbreakers at the end of a game. You've seen over the years when Ryan Watkins come flying in and would get us a rebound, and back then the clock would go back to 30, and so those are really backbreakers back then. But now, same way, you get another opportunity to score and can end up taking 45 seconds off the clock. When you're up 5, that makes the difference in games, and not just then, but throughout the game, they're huge to get.
What about Wyoming? Jeff Winter's team is 11-2. They've had some nice wins. Cliff notes, what do they do well? What concerns you about them?
Well, they're really, really good on the block, and then they play out of that. And, they'll throw it down there and dribble it down there, and going to see how you're going to play it. And they got a bunch of guys that are tough one-on-one players down there. So if you choose that, well, that's going to create some problems. But if you choose to come double, that creates a lot of problems and gets the ball moving and gets everybody involved. So it's a little bit of pick your poison, and it's going to offensively they're efficient, and it's going to drive a hard bargain at us for sure. And then they're really good defensively, and so you got both ends to deal with. But you also, then how it is. You've been on this trip a lot. There's a reality to playing at 7,000 feet that you have to do some things a little different, and we got some secret sauces that we use, and and it's helped us over the years. And so our guys are excited to go do it and excited to go play. And you got all kinds of things going on with snow and weather and cancellations all over the country. And we somehow we're just gonna put our heads down, keep plowing forward because we like where we are right now. We want to keep playing.
What's impressed you most about Jeff Linder in Wyoming in the short time he's been there? I mean, you guys know each other, your families know each other.
Yeah. No, he's just done a great job. I mean, he's came in and found a way to get his guys. And this day and age, you can get your guys a little quicker than in the old days when you had to bring them in and find them and redshirt them and develop them. And, he's done that with some good young guys and added the right pieces. And, they're coaching them up, which, I knew they would do.
You defend the three. Nobody shoots them on you. Linder's team, I think they're at 24, 25 attempts.
Right.
Is that kind of the chess match in this, Leon? You're trying to take it away. He's trying to find ways to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, what always happens too is there's surprise categories that on paper it looks that simple, but then there's all of a sudden there might be foul trouble, and then factors like that happen, and that disrupt the simplicity of the plan that you got to figure out on the fly, and that's what their post-ups do. They put so much foul pressure, and they get to the free throw line a lot, and that's that's been a big weapon for them.
Do you anticipate having to use more than the 7 or 8 guy rotation?
Oh yeah, I think you have to at altitude. 7. Are you going to the game?
Not the Wyoming game,
Okay.
no.
Well, the next time you go to Wyoming, get on the treadmill and start running, and you'll feel it. But we have a great approach to it, and we have a system that we use that is a little different than what we use, down
And you have
here in the Netherlands or wherever we are.
And I mean, you have a tough stretch coming up forward, anyways, on the road. And how do you approach just going on the road? And what makes it so hard in this conference to win on the road, given that 35% of the games the last 2 years it's only been 35% of the games have been won
By the road team?
Yeah.
I would have guessed. And I bet that's higher than usual. I bet COVID with no fans and the way we had to do it.
Cancellations.
Yeah, and all the weird stuff that happened last year. But this league it's number one, you got great coaches. But, number two, you got the altitude factor at a lot of places. Number three, you got great home courts where people show up and boy, they get after it. And I mean, my first few years in this league, when I couldn't believe some of these places, it was amazing. And that's why it's so important for when we have home games, we need that advantage. And, we didn't have a huge crowd against Fresno, but it helped us. The people that came, I thank them. And next home game, we need to sell it out. We need to get on that bandwagon quick because it does make a huge difference. And that's what we face at a lot of these places, especially as they get students back and all that kind of stuff, and the weather starts to get a little better. But it's a tough conference to play on the road. And, we don't take any of those for granted, and we're just going for one game right now. That's it. That's all we care about. And, we'll be ready to go. They'll be ready to go. It'll be a good college basketball game.
Rachel, do you have anything?
Yeah, one quick one. Sorry I couldn't make it. My car stayed snow tires on at 2:30, and I wasn't sure I'd be able to make it there and back. So what are some of the common characteristics of a good defense, and what stands out about yours?
Well, first it starts with a team that gives multiple efforts, not just one, and not just start out the possession with an effort. You got to finish possessions, and we got guys that fly around and play hard, and that's where it starts. And then we have good athleticism. We have pretty good toughness. Not pretty good, but I think we have real good toughness, and then that ability to finish with good rebounding, because you can't have good defense if you can't rebound. And I think we check all those boxes, and then they're taking pride in it. And when it becomes your identity and you take a lot of pride in it, that's how you get good at it.
Leon, if you look at your last 3 games, you guys have been nails in the last 5 minutes of each of those wins. And I know that rightfully so, you've talked a lot about your defense, but you've been incredibly efficient on offense too.
Right.
Why?
Well, like I said, guys are understanding roles and better, and we're understanding where our shots come and the strengths and weakness of our team and those kind of things, and they're just getting more comfortable with it. And you know, I there has been a lot of talk about our defense, but I told our guys I think our offense is pregnant, about to give birth, and we've been doing that the last 6 games. We're starting to start that process, and I think it's going to continue to go, and pretty soon the baby will be here.
Is Robin okay with that analogy?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's okay with that mental picture. Yeah, no, that's. But that's how I feel. Like we've got an offense that's. You look at the last 6 games; it seems to be getting more and more efficient. And is it where we want it to be yet? No, not yet. But we certainly have seen glimpses of. You know, I think we had 2 really good spurts in the Fresno game that helped us, and I just see it getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, when you do have that type of efficiency on offense, though, too, I guess how much does that play into what you do on the defensive end? Because if you get a bucket, all of a sudden possessions become so much more pressure packed once you go down to the other end.
No doubt, and the confidence in our defense too is big. You know, because then you really look at it. The difference between good year and great years are this much, and it's being able to finish those last 5 minutes, because you're in close games, and you're in lots of close games when you're a good team, and when you're a great team, you find a way to win most of them. You're maybe not going to win all of them, but if you can find a way to win the majority of them. And I mean, I remember that one year we just found, you know, we were that close, but we never won those, and that's usually defines the difference between a good year and a great year.
You know, Armouche's ability to defend the pick and roll this year.
Yeah.
Wow. How big of that is that? How important is that to what you guys do defensively?
Yeah.
It seems like
it's huge, because it's the cornerstone. If you can't do that, you can't be a good defensive team. And to have the beast inside that can handle, you know, the physicality of being inside. I mean, you know, he's going up against good guys night in, night out, and he makes up, you know, I call Abu the fireman. He's, I think I asked him the Serbian word for the fireman, and he gave it to me. I can't remember what it was, but, you know, I have 2 of them that put out a lot of fires, and a lot of cover for a lot of mistakes, but with the way they fly around with the extra effort, and it's impressive what he's done.
With
Is that the Serbian?
With earlier this year, we asked you who could take, you know, the shot at the end of the game, or who you want the ball in the hand. You said that you don't really have one; you have a lot of options, and that might still be the case. But how much is Marcus Shaver beginning to emerge in those situations?
Yeah, you know, I've certainly we saw that during his redshirt year at practice. We're like, we you know, he's good at that, and we know he's good at that. But you know, the beauty of it now is, like I said, the guys are understanding where they're best at it, and so when guys can get to that spot where they believe they're going to make it, not just Marcus but all of them, then it's pretty effective.
One more for me. It's about actually Tyson. With you know, so often we ask you after a 15.5 rebound performance about how he's, you know, how well he's doing. He made an impact last game. I think he took 3 total shots and scored 6 points. But for a freshman, true freshman, you probably sometimes feel like you might need to score or get shots up to make an impact on the game. But I don't know, he didn't have to.
No, he does. He makes, you know, he came up with 2 big steals. I thought the one when the ball was loose on the ground and he knocked it off their guy. Mm-hmm. We were up 5 and we went down and hit a 3. That was kind of a nail in the coffin. Mm-hmm. And you know, those are the kind of plays Tyson makes. I mean, the 1 3 that Shaver hit, we skipped it out of the post, and Tyson set a great screen and exaggerated the technique, so there was no foul call because the ref looked at it. The guy gets knocked down, the guy's not moving, and because of his attention to detail and the kind of player he is, we get 3 points out of it. And you know, that's the value of Tyson. So many of those plays that he makes that go unnoticed maybe to the naked eye.